What's going on, everyone? So, the Los Angeles Lakers missed out on Joshua Okogie, who I really wanted. I really did. I thought the acquisition of Joshua Okogie really would have solved some of the Lakers' needs, right? Talking about 6'5", 7-foot wingspan, versatile, kind of switchable defender. Obviously, Matisse Thybulle is somebody that the Lakers are linked to. Lakers are heavily engaged in. Kind of seems to be the most likely player that they end up with. Well, Josh Okogie has a lot of very comparable kind of attributes to a Matisse Thybulle. So even if they were to trade for Matisse Thybulle, Josh Okogie would have been fantastic. But of course, Houston, they already have enough riches. Why do you need more, right? Especially more of the same. But nonetheless, right? Solid pickup. I talked about this. I made a video about it over on AS, the Lakers show, but like, I don't think he moves the needle at all for Houston, right? Maybe slightly, because again, they have so many guys, like a team like the Lakers, right? Team like the Warriors, like a team that needs kind of that point of attack, versatile, kind of switchable 1 through 3 guard. Yes, that's going to be a natural ceiling raiser higher than, a team like Houston, where it's like, how many minutes is he going to play? What type of role is he going to play? Is he even going to be in the rotation? Right? Like, he's probably not going to be in the rotation come playoff time. He just kind of feels like an added body, right? So a team like the Lakers, I do think he would have made a bigger impact, right? Don't want to sell Houston short. They've had an incredible offseason, but it's just like, it's kind of more of the same. Where the Lakers, they really need kind of that defensive versatility. Okay, well, with Josh Okogie off the market, what's left? Right? Well, the immediate, easy kind of, okay, this guy would be Gary Payton II, right? Just signed with Bill Duffy, so now he's on Luka, Team Luka. He'd been linked to the Lakers. He was a former Laker, right? He was a Laker many, many moons ago at this point, right? So you could bring him back. That point of attack, versatile kind of guard, excellent off-ball mover, another guy that you could just deploy and throw at people. I don't hate the idea of Gary Payton II, but it's not my favorite, right? Like, it's just, he's small, right? If he was like 6'5", sign me up. Right? But the fact that he's, 6'2", 6'3", and I think that's being generous, right? It's just like, how much better would he be than Gabe Vincent, right? Full healthy Gabe Vincent, his three-point shooting is a better three-point shooter than, he'd be a little streaky, but he kind of gives you a lot of the same things. Gary Payton's more athletic, he's quicker, better off-ball, moving without the basketball. But Gabe Vincent, as far as just like slotted in 3 and D, although one guy would be a vet minimum, the other guy would be, $11.5 million. So like, that's the difference. But, it's just, I'd like somebody with a little more size, which, I move into, do you go for like a, D'Anthony Melton obviously would be the perfect kind of option, right? But the problem with D'Anthony Melton is it looks like he's going to the Warriors. So him and Al Horford are both slotted to go to the Golden State Warriors after they resolve the Jonathan Kuminga thing. Now things could change if the Lakers open up a spot. Well, they have the roster spot, but I guess clear off the money, right, in order to do that, which is the only way that they could get another free agent, at least right now, which is why I think a trade is coming, because the Lakers are still linked to a lot of these free agents. But the Lakers can't sign them unless, they pull off a trade. And there's reports that the Lakers are active in trade talks, right? So it's like, okay, so let's say you go and you make that trade, free up the guy. Well, then, maybe if it's before the Warriors have resolved their Kuminga thing, you can go to the Anthony Melton. Like, what happens if they don't resolve the Kuminga thing? Now you end up going to a team you don't want to. You wanted to go to the Lakers, right? Like, well, come on down. Right? Same thing with an Al Horford. It's like, hey, you can wait for the Warriors, but what happens if they don't get it done, right? What happens if they're not able to, and they have to keep Kuminga, and now, right? Like, it's just, hey, let's get this done. Sign with us, right? Maybe you can kind of come in and swoop in and get them. Another option would be Amir Coffey. I like Amir Coffey. He's got legit size, 6'7". Right? For what the Lakers exactly need now, because you have Marcus Smart as your point of attack, right? But as far as like that sizable perimeter guy, Amir Coffey's probably the best. He was probably the best regardless, even with Joshua Okogie. But the problem is he's just really inconsistent on both sides, right? His three-point shooting can kind of be a little all over the place. His defense can be a little all over the place, right? Again, all these guys are available for a reason, right? Some reasons more than others, but like Amir Coffey has been available all offseason. It wasn't like a Josh Okogie situation where he was available and ended up getting bought out, right? Like, no, Amir Coffey's been available the entire time. And it's like, well, why? And it's because, again, he's like, him as your primary kind of two-way guy is a bit of an issue, right? But the Lakers, it's like, I'd rather have Amir Coffey than nobody. It's like, what's the alternative right now, right? And you look at it, Amir Coffey, like I said, he's legit 6'7", right? The last season, he averaged just under 10 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist. He's a guy that is a 3-and-D guy. And last year, he shot almost 41% from three-point range. He shot 40.9% on 3.4 attempts. He's a career 38% three-point shooter. The previous year with the Clippers, because he's played his entire career with the Clippers, previous year with the Clippers, he was 38%, right? So, again, it's like, can he kind of get back to that? You've seen him kind of progress and shoot more and more. He'll also be slotted alongside a LeBron James as well as a Luka Doncic and an Austin Reeves. So the quality of looks that he would get are going to be much greater than he would even when he was on the Clippers, right? So it kind of gives him that opportunity to play a bigger role, which he had signs, he had moments with the Clippers. Like, there were games and stretches and stuff where you're just like, dude, this guy is really good, right? Hustles, does the dirty work, could be that kind of guy for you. But again, it's just like, he's one of those guys that's great in limited doses, right? Like, think of like Taurean Prince. Right, in like 15 minutes with Taurean Prince, he was like the best player on the Lakers. But as soon as he played that 16th minute, that was it, right? You could kiss it all goodbye, right? Like, he's going to be an absolute dumpster fire at that point. And even his like defensive rating, like I said, is inconsistent. He's had some terrible years defensively, but last year he was a 115.1, which again isn't good, but it's not terrible, right? Like, it's not like, like Marcus Smart was like a 113.5, right? So again, if he's part of a defensive scheme and it's kind of like this cumulative thing, like, then I do think he can play a role. Like, if you go over last year, he played 72 games, 24.3 minutes per game, 7.1 field goal attempts per game, shot 47.1% from the field, shot the 41% from three-point range on 3.4 attempts, 53% on 3.7 attempts from two-point range, 57% EFG, 89.1% on just under 2 attempts from three-point range, 2.2 rebounds, 1 assist, a steal, half a block, and 10 points per game. Like, that's good. That's good production. That's good. I don't know how I'd feel about him being your starter, right? But again, you never know. You got to keep in mind, Amir Coffey the last few years been on a team with several wings, right? Before it was Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and then they went and got Derrick Jones and all these guys, right? So like, he's kind of been like even inconsistent over the years. And yes, he's gotten to like progress and play a bigger and bigger role, but there are a lot of times where he was just inconsistent, right? You look at some of the games and totals that he played, a lot of that wasn't just because like he was hurt, or it's just because he was getting like DMPs and stuff. Just wasn't playing, right? Because again, it's like, how many minutes are you going to play when you have Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and then 2 or 3 other guys, more veteran guys, and they're trying to win right now, right? Like, so I just think Amir Coffey could be a case of the right team, right situation, right opportunity could potentially elevate, and he could end up being that diamond in the rough. I think the potential's there. Right? So it's like, okay, well, what do you do with Amir? Like, it kind of becomes one of those things. But then, like, once you get off of that, it's like, it's tough as far as like who's available. Like, Malcolm Brogdon, on paper, Malcolm Brogdon is exactly what this team needs, right? He's big, sizable, he's like 6'4", 6'5", versatile guard, could slot in either guard position, defend 1 through 3, career 39% three-point shooter. Problem is his health. Right? Can he stay healthy? Can he stay on the basketball court? Right? Like, is he going to give you 20 games or is he going to give you, 50? Right? And even then, 50 isn't great. Like, he's a guy, like, if you knew, like, if you had a crystal ball and it was like, okay, like, here's Malcolm Brogdon, right? He's going to give you 75 games, or let's call it 65 games. 65 games would be healthy come playoff time. then I would be screaming, sign me up for him. Right? Because again, he's a guy that can play on ball, play off ball, initiate, be your point of attack defender. Like, he can do so much. He's not what he was, many moons ago, but he's still a very good basketball player that is better than the guys that we got on the bench right now, right? Not named Marcus Smart. I'd rather kind of go that direction, try to brain one of those guys in to see if you can make it work. But then, the further and further you kind of go down, it's like, okay, who are you bringing in? Who are you signing? Are any of these guys worth it? I think like, one, you could go the center route, or you could be patient to see who else gets bought out, right? Like Nikola Vucevic is somebody that may end up getting bought out. Jeremy Grant, right? There's a couple names kind of circulating, and those are just the names that are circulating right now. As we inch closer to training camp, there might be another guy or two that ends up getting bought out and ends up becoming available. Also, there's the potential if the Lakers end up making a trade and they do open up a spot, all of a sudden, does that incentivize somebody to go like, hey, I want to be bought out so I can go to the Lakers, right? Like, you might get a guy like a Jeremy Grant at that point being like forcing, pushing for a buyout. Because he's like, dude, I can go to the Lakers and start as like the small forward, or, get heavy minutes in a back. Like, let's say they trade Rui for somebody. He could be looking at it and going like, ooh, like, hang on a minute. Like, I could play a big role for that team now because they got off of Rui. So now I could be either the primary backup or the starter or whatever, right? So you might have that incentive for one of these other players if the Lakers were to fill up a spot. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. What do you think? How do you feel with your thoughts? Who do you want to see them sign? If they can sign anybody, do you want them to stay as far away from all of them as possible? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.